when I left 18 months ago, when I left YouTube, I thought that, I had put out more than enough information for everyone in the community to feed off of and listen to and expand on. So I decided to, go in another direction where I could, look into things a little bit more deeper and get more specific and find more proof out there. You know my motto: it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Right.
So that journey took me to Europe, and for 18 months, in that time span, I got contact with a 15-year veteran of land. He's a cargo pilot for 777
Yeah.
jumbo jet. He shared some things with me that didn't really shock me that much, but it surprised the hell out of me that a cargo pilot would give that much detail. And that's stuff that I'll eventually be sharing with you guys. I got some information from people who used to work for the European Space Agency. I learned about some hidden things that are going on with them and where they're actually doing things. And I learned a whole shitload of things about CERN and what they're really doing there.
Yeah.
And I don't think people will be too surprised, but there are going to be people who are going to be really shocked about what CERN, what the real purpose of CERN really is, and what's really going on there. But so I came back in the U.S. right now, and getting things kind of put together logistically and administratively, so I can have a complete production setup for the end of this year, next year, where I'll be interviewing a few key company executives in the private sector and in the government sector, former government sector, who actually disclosed to me a few soft disclosure films that have been out in the movies where the government actually sponsored it, and it was a message they were putting out to people. Hey, you're right, this is real. You're right, this is what we've already been able to do. You're right, but we're not going to admit it, but here goes a movie to show you of what we've been doing for this amount of time. And it explains a lot. I had already put the information out on YouTube, but it took a while for people to take hold to it, and there ended up being a couple hundred views, then a couple of thousand, then a couple of 10,000 views. The videos have been shared by some people, but I've changed my viewpoint on some things that I've said previously and got a confirmed scientific understanding of what I was saying, how I was saying it, and I'm looking to refine a few things, not change my mind or change my opinion, but it's going to be more fact based, and I'm still going to be pushing the documentation. That's my thing. It's not
Yeah.
what you know; it's what you can prove. I don't want to hear about it. I want to see it,
Yes.
and then I'm going to be putting together some of my own experiments using high altitude drones and some really cool high definition expensive camera technology, thermal technology, infrared technology, and next year when I start putting things up on Planeta Veritas, there'll be a 24/7 live feed of cameras placed in strategic locations, drones that'll be programmed to launch on their own to go to a specific location and give people aerial views. And I'm also going to be using artificially intelligence, deep learning software and technology to do a lot of crazy, funky things. But I'm not going to disclose what that is right now. But I've got access to some official databases right now where literally all I got to do is log in and I've got the information at my fingertips. So it's a whole lot more than what I released yet last year, and a lot of it's up to date. And hey, I'm looking to share it with all you guys.
Yeah.
So a lot of it this year, I look forward to potentially being invited to speak with you guys weekly to start disclosing a lot of this because I won't be able to do it all by myself this time around. So I'm looking to share it on your channel and anyone else that is taking this seriously. But again, I, I'm I had the motto last year. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. There may be a few times where you're actually going to visually see me on video live with a camera out in the open, maybe at some locations that you never thought that I'd end up going to those locations. So the journey's not over. Let's just put it that way. But it's good to be back. And, I really appreciate the support and people showing the concern about what's been going on with me, where I've been. I'm safe. I'm healthy. I'm secure. I'm not in jail. I wasn't kidnapped. I wasn't threatened or anything like that. I just, I wanted to go off and kind of see, hey, what's really going on out there. And I also, there's some things, that I needed to find out for myself, and I did that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more focus now and on detail, and I want to make sure that it's going to be done professionally, kind of like, what I've been seeing, what you put it on your channel, Andres, and I really like it, and I really appreciate it. So I'm going to be looking to share a lot of information with everyone. So you're either going to accept it or you're not going to accept it. But if you have something to counter the information I'm putting out, let's put it together. Let's talk about it. But Europe was where I found a lot of evidence that I didn't previously have access to. And Germany was a key focus of it. So that's why I'm on the German channel. Yeah, you might want to mention too, Andres. I think you and Franz have access to the files of Box. So anyone who wants access to that,
oh yeah,
we
of
just
course.
they just get their email and give them an invite to access it, because that's where I'll be uploading all new information, and everyone else will get first look at it, so they can see what it is. And who knows, there may be somebody out there who can communicate a different view, or maybe find new information that could support what it is we're putting out and what I'm sharing. But like I said, I have access to those exclusive platforms where you need special permission. I'm not going to say it on this live feed right now, but you two guys know who they are.
Yes, we
know. And when I download that information, it's coming directly from the source. So, and it's approved. And by the way, it's all approved. I have approved access to any data I want regarding whatever subject.
Robert, I just gave a brief look about this engineering document and what I have found out, especially the technology, which had been far more advanced related to the time it was issued here now in where this document has been disclosed officially. And I wonder that the frequencies this satellite is looking for is tuned to the frequencies of our contemporary computer equipment. So to the processors.
Yeah, right where you were talking to, I was catching some of what you were saying, and I pulled up images regarding specifically electromagnetic emitter locating systems. And you're not going to believe this. They show pictures of computers, and they show aerial pictures of how this electromagnetic emitter system that they developed, that they were engineering back in 1960, in the late 60s, was basically an airborne electromagnetic wireless transmitter. They were able to locate objects and people on the ground who were using radios. It was a transmitter and a receiver in 1967. They even show a picture online of how electromagnetic motion tracking was used to track people on the ground and movement, how tall the person was, what they approximately weighed, how fast they were moving. This is in 1967. They were using an airborne platform to do this. That's what they claimed. So, and yeah, those frequencies were consistent with computer chip manufacturing. Now the question remains is, how long have they been doing it? Because what we had talked about before we came on the show was this new company where it's softly disclosed how worldwide telecommunications was being conducted. And the company is called Airborne Wireless Network. And what I had found out when someone disclosed this to me was that every commercial flight has one of these computer boxes inside the cargo area, which basically is communicating with other commercial flights and towers on the ground and radio transmitters on the ground to transmit the traffic around the world, across the ocean. They were doing it airborne through electromagnetic wave propagation back in the 60s. And now this company, Airborne Wireless Network, is, they've come out to say, yeah, we're the company who's providing this, and they're making people believe, and here's how they describe it. And it's right on their website. And it's maybe I should share the screen so everybody could actually see it and see it for themselves.
Great idea.
It's funny. Yeah, there it is right there. They said a wholesale carrier network. For its wholesale carrier network, AWN intends to use commercial aircraft as mini satellites. The company's primary target customer base will be the worldwide data and communication service providers. Now, this company came onto the scene approximately, let's see when their website was developed here. It says 2018, the copyright, but the company, I think, has probably been in existence longer than that. But I haven't had a chance to really research it. But back when, commercial air travel became mainstream, they had already, the engineering report, just like Franz says, explains how they were doing this, how they were going to do it, how they were already doing it, using electromagnetic emitter locator systems.
Yes.
And if you wanted to transmit traffic, if you wanted to make a radio call from New York, and you had military aircraft in the air and they were going over to such and such location, or they were spy aircraft like the Hawkeyes, and they were over a specific region in Europe, and someone else was using the same legacy radio, or they were on the same frequency, like Franz was saying, you use those specific frequency ranges, gigahertz ranges, signals ranges, then you could be able to transmit that signal securely from location A to location B and back and forth. And they were using planes to do it. I don't think that the submarine cable network system was that extensive back then, and it wasn't at the speed that it's at today. So the only other way to make it even faster and to intercept, signals during all the wars that occurred were in the air. That's why there were always aircraft in the air all the time. If you look at Flight Radar 24, I mean, let's go back to Airborne Wireless Network. If Airborne Wireless Network existed back, a version of this existed back in the 60s and 70s, then what you're looking at is how the worldwide telecommunications network functioned since the 1960s, maybe even sooner than that, the 1950s.
Yeah.
That's how it existed. There are no satellites. They explain on their website, mini satellites. So you have something flying at 30, 40,000 feet, 45,000 feet, or even higher. The U-2 flies at an operating ceiling. Now I want to stress, operating ceiling of 70,000 feet. The U-2 flies way above 70,000 feet, but its operating altitude is 70,000 feet. You're not going to see the U-2 at 70,000 feet. If the U-2 platforms had this technology already, these electromagnetic emitters and locating systems, this is how the worldwide communication system network was working. You had military aircraft handling sensitive military communications, and the commercial traffic was being handled by commercial aircraft, Pan Am, TWA, Lufthansa,
Yeah.
All these airplanes, they were all working with each other, and you'd have some pilots who didn't even know, or maybe they did know, and just were not allowed to say, hey, by the way, your telephone calls are taking place in our cargo hold downstairs. So yeah, feel free to use a cell phone. Oh, I forgot, you don't have a cell phone yet because they're not going to be available for another 40 years.
Right.
I mean, come on. I mean, let's be real here.
Yeah.
There's nothing beyond 150 to 200 kilometers in the sky.
12 of U2s are enough to observe the entire Earth.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah,
12.
just 12.
And their flight time, they can stay at what? What's their operating flight time? I think their operating flight time is like 12 hours. So when one covers one area, you have it land, another one comes up there and takes over.
They fuel in the air, up in the air.
Yeah,
So
midair.
it's
They do midair
midair.
flights.
Yeah, that's not
And
a
since Lockheed Martin updated the U-2 Dragon Lady, half of the fleet now is unmanned, meaning you can fly the thing from your basement using a joystick or in a shipping container
yeah,
on an 8-hour shift. That thing could fly anywhere, and
right.
taking photos, making you think that it was taken from a satellite at 200 miles above the Earth.
Yeah, unmanned. Yeah, unmanned. Everything.
Yeah,
And
unmanned.
and not controlled by a human.
Yeah, this is
Fly,
absolutely incredible, man.
yeah, it flies automatically.
Yeah, this is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and of course the origin of the U2 is when was it? In the
In the
50s.
1950s,
In
yeah,
the
in the 50s,
50s.
yeah.
Yeah, and they still use it. Yeah, I mean, come on, it's
All they did
really
was they upgraded the avionics, they upgraded the cameras, they upgraded the communication system.
right,
That's all they did.
right.
And now that they have these, you know, you don't hear pilots going crazy about, oh, I'm going to lose my job because I can't fly anymore. Who cares? You can't fly for 12 hours, my friend. This is an aircraft carrier, man. I've never seen a U-2 on an aircraft carrier, which means that they can launch these things out in the middle of the ocean. I've never seen one on an aircraft carrier. That's an aircraft carrier that the U-2's on. This picture right here, and that's an old picture too. So if they were doing this back in those days, imagine now. Imagine how many of these, they don't show these on TV on CNN being launched from an aircraft carrier.
They talk about space junk at the airborne website, and that's really funny. So because they don't use satellites, right? So they don't have any space junk. So that's argument for their technology, and it seems to be a good argument. I mean, so you're sharing your screen?
Yeah, I just was looking at this one
Yeah.
document. I was just looking at this so people can see this, what it says. I'm gonna upload this into Box so that people can have it. But this is what they say the Reaper is. The Reaper, make it big so everyone can see it. Yeah, the Reaper is an advanced electromagnetic emitter locating system. However you want to define electromagnetic emitter locating system, that's up to you. It's the same as GPS.
Yeah, it's ground based, right?
Yeah, but it's ground-based, designed to be operated from an Earth-orbiting platform. The equipment mates with a GNF vehicle and system interface is compatible with payload vehicle digital command programmer, Type 20.
Right.
Again, this is 703 pages. I don't know how Franz guy went through all of it, but he did. He's an engineer, so that's what they do. That's what engineers do. They go through all this. This is an interesting document, too. I just stumbled across it. Okay, I'll stop the sharing.
Yeah, we also can talk about the fact that many engineering papers from NASA and they are based on flat Earth navigation, and not only just having a flat Earth, but also a non-movable Earth. And today we already talked about the fact that in the air there are terrible air streams. So maybe Robert, you can talk a little bit about this fact, what's happening, why planes are going on special routes?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I wanted to address that. Yeah, I put up on my channel documents 2 years ago showing that the government, NASA, it's a famous document that a lot of people are starting to refer to now. It was regarding flight engineering for planes based on the flat Earth fixed model concept. And I got to speak with an engineer, a flight engineer in Europe, who discussed with me why every government use flat Earth equations in mathematics. And it has nothing to do with the the shape of the Earth. Okay, when they designed the mathematics and equations for flight aerodynamics and calculations, they needed to have a fixed frame of reference that was unmovable to begin from. They needed that foundation. So where do you begin? When you want to start to learn how to fly or develop something that's going to fly. You have to have that fixed stationary point, and then you go outward or an upward to have something that you can have a visual frame of reference from, and then you start developing approximations and probabilities and calculations based on angles and trajectory and velocity and speed. So that's why they use that language in their documents. They're just using it as a fixed frame of reference, and their fixed frame of reference is that the ground we walk on and we move on and we live on is fixed unless you're in a earthquake zone where the ground is moving all the damn time, a couple of centimeters or more. But generally speaking, and when you see that in government documents, when you see that in overlays, that is not these government agencies confirming that the entire planet we live on is flat. They're saying, hey, we know what's fixed, we know what's not moving. Let's start from here and go outward. Now, the reason why there is no entire Earth mathematical equation to account for the atmospheres is because he said that the atmospheres are consistently, dynamically expanding and contracting. So you have multiple layers. You have 4 to 5 layers of atmosphere. They don't know how deep and how dense and how shallow and how vast and what all of their compositions are on each different atmosphere. But they can judge what the approximate average speeds are, directions, velocities, and the changes. And that's what you see on Earth.nullschool. I think it's .org or .net or something like that. Yeah, .net. So that's what you're seeing with regard to the wind patterns. So there, when you go on Flight Radar 24, all these commercial flights and even the military flights, depending on what altitude they're at, they're taking these established set routes to go from, say, Germany to UK to New York, and so on and so forth. Because these planes are collecting all of this data, it's getting uploaded into their computers, it gets transmitted to the ground, put into a central database, and collated and fused and collaborated with all of these weather ground weather station systems, and then it's getting transmitted to all these other locations, and it's just constantly exchange of data. When you venture off of one of those set lanes or routes in the sky, then you're basically flying at your own risk, because at any given point in time, you're not going to, what they don't know is when a specific layer of the atmosphere is going to contract or expand. And that's why you have these instances where planes literally can drop thousands of feet in a matter of minutes and rise without even noticing how quickly they rise. But you have autopilots, things control with all this stuff. This is what this flight engineer was explaining to me. And the whole flat Earth thing in these documents is not the government confirming that the entire system we live on is flat. They know that there's some sort of, dynamic atmospheric type of field on different layers, and the winds and the currents are moving at different speeds. So you could have, if a plane's flying at 528 kts an hour, then they're flying at a specific altitude. And then you have combat aircraft that are flying at another altitude at another speed. They can fly at higher speeds, Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3, and faster. And then you have another layer where you can fly at a different speed, and so on. The higher you get, the faster you have to go. Hence, when they talk about satellites traveling at, in excess of 15,000, 17,000 miles an hour, or even faster, they're at the upper levels of the atmosphere where you need more force, you need more vector, you need more speed to travel at those speeds to maintain those altitudes. But that doesn't mean that there's something out in space doing that. That just means that that's based on a theoretical, hypothetical construct of this is what should be happening at these altitudes. So for me personally, I think the whole idea of satellites being at above 150 kilometers is just something they put out there because they knew people wouldn't be able to figure out the math, because there is no math for a spherical planet as a whole. Because if you're on the ground and you got to measure your ceiling in the sky, your ceiling is constantly changing. It's contracting and it's expanding on a regular basis, and you can't predict when it's going to contract or when it's going to expand. You can only judge what the wind is doing, and if there's no wind, you're not really sure what's happening. So that's basically it. I'm not changing what I'd said before. I'd used the documentation, but now I have a detailed scientific and mathematical understanding of why they're using flat Earth mathematics. They're saying the ground we're on is relatively flat, so to speak, minus the hills and declinations and inclinations and mountainous terrain. But if you're on a highway or anything like that and you can see for miles, then yes, you can see for miles and you're on a flat surface, pretty much, depending on where you're driving to. But as far as the upper atmosphere is concerned, the pictures that they show us are a multi-layered, expanding ellipsoid type of dynamic environment. So there could be stars on one level, they could be celestial bodies on another, they could be holographic projections on another, but nothing is getting beyond that, because if there was a quasi vacuum of space, then you have no wind at all. You have no wind vectors, you have nothing controlling the speed, the direction, and the control, the attitude control of any object, any massive bus size object, like they claim the space, like they claim the Hubble is. They claim the Hubble's the size of a school bus. Something that size moving at over 17,000 miles an hour, you can't control anything. It's just tumbling. It's out there tumbling. If something hit it, it's just going to keep spinning, and it'll probably keep going. I mean, it's those laws of motion. An object in motion stays in motion until something gets in its way to change its direction and change its speed, its velocity, so on and so forth. So everything's within our atmosphere, and the flat Earth mathematics pertains to a standard model of having to develop a mathematical foundation for, you've got to start somewhere to get somewhere. And to me, the magic of flight is simply that. It's theoretical and magical, because when you open the door to a plane at 35,000 feet, that plane is not going to stay aerodynamic. It's going to come crashing back down to the ground. It's not going to glide. It's not going to, there's not going to be any control about it at all. Because guess what? You release the pressure. So when you lose the pressure, you got to think gravity that just that way. It's pressure. It's not that, you lost any type of aerodynamic force. You're in a floating tube. You're in a pressurized tube. That's it. You open the door, that's it. It's gone. But when you're at lower altitude, say when you're skydiving, you can open the door. I mean, I was in special operations, and guys jump out of an airplane at 35,000 feet. They can open the back door of a C-130, and you're out of there. But you have to the pressure has to be equalized for that to actually occur. You just can't open the door immediately and have it happen. Yeah, you get sucked out. Yeah, everybody's seen all the movies where you get sucked out of the airplane.
Yes.
But when you're doing a high altitude, low opening jump, um, that's possible. But with a normal commercial airplane, you have to decrease the pressure inside the aircraft, and that door's going to go flying open. Everyone's going to freeze to death, and some people who are not seatbelted in is going to get sucked out of the plane.
It should not be
So
stable anymore in
no,
these
it's not
altitudes.
stable. No, it's not stable anymore at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have an equalization of pressure, and you can't do that with a commercial jet aircraft. You
No.
can't do it. Yeah, you can't do it. You can do it, but everybody's got to be on O2. It's got to be done slowly. No, it's got to be done slowly. It's got to be done slowly. And you're flying at 520 miles an hour. So think about that. To me, planes don't fly; they fall. They're just falling. They're just falling really fast at a
Yeah.
longer distance. So when you take off from London Heathrow to fly to New York, as soon as you get to cruising altitude, you begin falling until you land controllably in New York. You're just doing it really fast. That's all.
Did I understand you correct? That the planes are not just flying because of their aerodynamic streamlining physics?
No,
But
yeah, you have the thrust, you have the lift. That's thermodynamic lift. Once you get up there, you just continue to thrust, you get it lifted in the air. Once it hits that pocket of thermal air, just like birds do. You see birds that can fly at high altitude, that literally glide. They don't even flap their wings. They're just floating around in the sky. They're thermal. That's the same thing a plane's doing, except that it's got 100,000 times more thrust than a bird does. Once it gets up there, you just keep that engine flowing. You just keep it flowing. You keep those fans and those engines at high RPMs. But the plane is falling. If you power down those engines and those fans, what do you think happens? You start dropping in altitude. And then if you open the door, forget about how much thrust you have. You're coming down. There is no control because you lost all the pressure.
this means flying is not based on the aerodynamics to work against gravity, but gravity is based on the difference of pressure.
The difference of pressure, exactly. But yeah, for me, you know, I don't have any extensive experience or background in aerodynamics, but from reading the documents from NASA and some of the other military organizations where they actually talk about all of this, and talking to this one engineer in Europe, it not only makes perfect sense, but it's scientifically factual. I don't care how fast a plane is going, how much velocity it has. You know, if it's flying at Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3, or, you know, 0.94, you know, or less than that. I don't care what altitude it's at. Once you compromise the pressure of that internal container, you lose all aerodynamic control and stability. So when we talk about the laws of aerodynamics, how could you say it's a law of aerodynamics when all you need to do is one thing and the laws of aerodynamics don't apply anymore? Because you removed one key variable and ingredient, pressure. Pressure.
You just have the Sophia plane 707 or 747 on the screen, and where the telescope is located. So there the plane is open. So
no. But if you guys saw the video, if you go do some research on that, on the Sophia, where that lens is at, that entire area was enclosed. It's not open to the main cabin.
Okay.
Meaning it's contained. It's contained within. It's inside the aircraft, the rear of the aircraft, but it's also pressurized inside there, so that the people who are doing the research on the computer stations inside the main fuselage, they're not on O2 or anything. You know, that's another thing that kind of baffles me when they show the ISS. You know, I know they're doing their docking procedures and they're pressurizing and repressurizing, and you do this over and over and over and over again. Eventually, you start to develop pressurized environment that could be compromised really easy if it's not balanced all the time. Because you remember that one video? I think there's a video out there where they show one of the astronauts coming out of the ISS, and the flap that he had to open up to come out of, it looked like it was something like a
tent.
Yeah, it looked like a tent top, like it was like a canvas type of tent top. He came out. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
No, that's not possible. This, I mean, what is that? Like some sort of suction cup type of situation or something?
Yeah.
And it just that didn't make any sense because he's supposed to be so quote unquote in the vacuum of space, and he just pushes this thing open like it's a sewer top. You know, there's no door to lock, there's no pressurization or nothing.
Yeah, it looked like some kind of fabric. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to ask yourself when you see that video, if he was in an environment that had to be repressurized, that means that when he entered the environment, it was not pressurized. Which means, how could the door have been opened? They never show you that intricate part of the video. They never show you. They show those guys going in and coming in and then going out, but then they don't show you they don't show you the camera from the time the guy gets in there to the time they get out, and then they show them coming out.
Never.
No, there's no uncut footage of that.
Never.
No
Exactly. And here's the other thing. Did you ever ask yourself this common sense question? That video, who the hell was shooting the video to show that guy from a distance coming out of that module? Yeah, and the reason why I say that, because this is why I think it's bullshit. You guys remember the call I made to NASA about the ISS, and did they have cameras on the outside of the ISS? And they said, yeah, we do. So how is it that camera's just pointing at that one fucking exit point of that one module? That camera's just focused there? Come on, be for real here. Somebody was shooting that bit. Who was already outside? I'll tell you who was already outside. Some intern from freaking UCLA or Stanford or Caltech shooting the video in some fucking green screen laboratory. I mean, here it is right here. It doesn't make any sense. There you go. Does that look like some sort of pressurized door? No. Because when he closes that, on the other end, they have to open that door to start taking those suits off. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, when you look at what we can do in a commercial aircraft and how high we can go, Russian MiG jets can fly. They say can fly higher than some of the most advanced U.S. jets. And for I think $35,000, you can go to Russia.
Yes.
And get in the back seat of one of these MiG aircraft, the old ones. I'm talking about the third, fourth generation ones, not the current generation. And they will take you to 80,000 feet. That's 10,000 feet above the U-2's operating altitude. And people say that they have their GoPro cameras and they can see the curvature. You ain't seeing the curvature here. You're seeing that first layer of atmosphere you're allowed to go to. But from what I heard from this European engineer, that those jets, they can go higher than that. They can go higher than 80,000 feet. So if fighter jets, MiG jets can go higher, can go operate at 80,000, but they possibly have a max ceiling of maybe 100,000, maybe even higher than that. Because I think what's that one jet? I got it on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, the Blackbird.
Yeah, the Blackbird.
The SL.
The SLR. Yeah, the SR-71. The SR-71. They said its max altitude was at 108,000 feet. 108,000 feet, and it couldn't maintain that altitude for what? Couldn't been more than 10 minutes. And you know why? You know why it couldn't maintain that altitude going from one end of, say, from California all the way out to the edge of Russia? Is because the speed you have to maintain in the altitude, you got to start coming back down. So that falls in line with my philosophy that planes don't fly, they fall. Because the faster you got to go, the faster you're going to get down. You're going to come down. So when we talk about, when the government talks about satellites flying at 15,000, 17,000 miles an hour, the faster you go, the sooner you're going to come down. How is it that the ISS, the size of a football field, is still in the sky, in space at 240 miles for over 15 years? And it's still maintaining. And you ready for this? It drops in altitude and rises in altitude, because when it drops in altitude, it gets low enough to where I showed the picture. They could show a picture where you could see Antarctica 1,000 miles away. They took a picture. They took a picture from the ISS when ISS was flying close to Antarctica, and they took a picture of the coast of Antarctica when it got to its lowest altitude, and then they have the thrusters push it back up into its normal operating orbital trajectory. So it's got to go up and down, up and down, up and down. And you telling me it's been doing this for 15 years, and it's the size of a football field? Really?
Yeah.
Come on, that's a plane, man.
Yeah,
A plane can do that.
They talk about this drop, and they need to push it with the Soyuz. When the Soyuz is reaching the ISS, they need to push up the ISS back into orbit. That's how they explain it.
Yeah,
but we never have seen an uncut footage of the Soyuz reaching the ISS too.
No, absolutely.
There's so much that is missing to give us evidence for the authenticity of the ISS. There's only one, for example, one live stream after 60 years. There's no second live stream that could confirm the live stream of the ISS. There's so many that is missing.
This goes to what Jaron says this a lot. It goes to what he says. He says it repeatedly. He says, why, if they got all this advanced technology, all these cameras, why are they refusing to give uncut video views of everything that's going on for 20? Do it for 24 hours. You ain't got to do it for a day, 2 days, 2 weeks. Just come on, man. I'll spend the $5,000. I tell you what I would do. I'll spend the fucking $5,000 for the latest fucking Canon camera. Go give it to fucking Elon Musk to put on a SpaceX and say, listen, can you package this up for me? And I wanna make sure I give a personal fucking Amazon fucking delivery to this fucking astronaut, and tell him, point this fucking thing out of the cupola with the lens I gave you, turn this motherfucker on.
Yeah.
And don't worry, just turn it off in 24 hours. But I don't want you fucking with it for 24 hours. They're saying that every pound of equipment you put on a rocket or a space vehicle to put it up into the ISS could cost thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. Okay, then tell me this is a 7 or 8 pound camera. All right, tell me what it's going to cost to have just this camera. I'll pay for the insurance. Let me put it on here. And then when it gets up there, hey, you don't start billing me for fucking this shit being up there. And then bring it back down when you come back down. I want to see 24 hours, nonstop. And as a matter of fact, I'll even give you the Wi-Fi module so that shit streams down to my own servers, so I can see it for myself in real time. They won't do that.
That's never gonna happen.
They can't do it because there's no real ISS up there.
And that's the point that everybody's saying, is that, come on, we ain't asking for weeks. Just show us one uncut 24-hour feed in real time. No fisheye, no nothing. Send the shit up there. You sent a fucking car up there. You sent a fucking car up there with no fucking engine, no gasoline, nothing. You can't send a fucking $5,000 camera up there? Come on, man. There ain't no fucking nothing in space.
Yeah, that's totally ridiculous. And the point is that because of the constantly fall of the ISS, the people, the crew inside the ISS, that's the only reason why they are in a zero-G environment.
Do you know that they said that they were going to decommission the ISS, I think, when, 2020, 2022 or some shit like that, 2025. They're setting, you ready for this? They're setting the public up for something catastrophic to happen, to give an excuse to say, oh, it doesn't exist anymore because it blew up. or it fell into space. Because guess what? The Chinese, they caught on to that shit. The Chinese knew that they were getting ready to be outed. You see what happened to their space station, right? Yeah, their space station already crashed. So they don't have to worry about being part of the hoax and the scam. Because look at what happened to theirs. The Chinese launched their own space station, what, 10 years after the ISS was put together? So you tell me how something that's more updated than the ISS fell out of the sky sooner than the ISS did. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all. Everything, when I talk to this land pilot who flies for land, he's a cargo pilot. He says the highest he's flown is 48,000 feet. He has been on crystal clear nights, flying across the Atlantic, flying across the Pacific, flying high north of the Atlantic, way past Iceland, jumping over into Russia, crystal clear nights. And he and his comrades in that cockpit, when I asked him, have you ever, at the altitude you flying at, have you guys ever curiosity brought any kind of special camera kit to see if you can see any satellites that are supposed to be within 20 to 30 miles of you up in the sky? He goes, what you say? I say, have you ever seen anything? Satellites flying. He goes, what makes you think we saw anything? I said, there's supposed to be satellites flying. You should be able to see these things. They're bigger than your airplane. He goes, there's nothing there. All we see is military aircraft going by, capturing balloons. I couldn't believe he said it. I couldn't believe he said it. This is a guy who's been flying for land cargo for 15 years. He says on a crystal clear night, flying over the North Atlantic, they don't see nothing whizzing past in the sky. All they see is these large military cargo aircraft with tail hooks.
Yeah, they're catching up those balloons.
And right? they see something get snagged out of the sky, and it makes it look like something is moving real fast. Well, if you tail hook something out of the sky while you're flying at 400 miles an hour, yeah, it's going to look like an unidentified flying object because it just moved in a direction it shouldn't have moved in. And you ready for this? He says that the military turns off their external beacons, those red lights, to identify commercial aircraft from military. They turn them off so that no one knows that they're up in the air. So you can't see the flashing lights. That's how it's done. They don't do this shit in the daytime. They catch all these bad boys at night. And the ones that do come down in the daytime, they come down in areas where nobody can see them. Or sometimes they make a mistake and they'll crash in somebody's fucking backyard or in somebody's cornfield in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, there's indeed a lot of findings of these so-called satellites.
I found out from somebody in Germany, okay, worked for ESA. There's been a half a dozen satellite crashes in remote areas of Germany that have never been reported on the news. Satellites. You didn't see no burning light, smoke coming out of the sky. You didn't see no shooting star, no nothing. It just fell out of the sky. Half a dozen. Yeah, half a dozen. ESA. In coordination with NASA. In the DOD. Yep.
What the
DLR.
Yeah, in the DLR.
Yeah.
In the DLR. But you know, I don't hate it. I'm not hating on them for it. But the gig is up, man. Someone's gonna be out in the middle of nowhere one day, and they're gonna be having sex with their girlfriend in the middle of a cornfield in Germany somewhere, and the girlfriend's gonna scream, and he's gonna be like, "Yeah, baby, you know, we're having a good time." No. Here comes the satellite. Get the hell out of the
way. But that's good that you were mentioning it. There's indeed a lot of cornfields here in Germany. So if a satellite or balloon satellite crashes here, no one ever gonna notice it, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When it comes down, you don't hear no sound or nothing. When a balloon loses its lift and the helium comes out or whatever, you don't hear nothing. All you hear is the damn thing hitting the ground. And if it's not a big, say it's a cube satellite or something the size of a coffee table, you're not gonna hear the sound a loud crash in the middle of a cornfield in fucking Germany or Iowa or Oklahoma or Nebraska. Especially if it's on a cloudy night, you're definitely not going to see it come out of the sky. And you ready for this? I found out that they plan a lot of these crashes when the weather's shitty. They plan it when the weather's shitty, so nobody can see it coming.
So I'm also interested in the fact, I think, Robert, you also talked about it. If Hubble is in space and if ISS is in space, there must have been service flights to exceed the orbit. Otherwise, the ISS or Hubble already came down to Earth.
Well, here's the thing. I've seen videos, and I'm talking about recent videos, with since 2012, where an elevated photograph or video was taken of the ISS, meaning that there was something that was higher than the ISS taking photographs and video of it. Now,
And
that completely contradicts what the deputy program manager told me about Hubble, and that there was nothing, he said to me, there's nothing up there that could take a picture of Hubble. Meaning that they didn't have any other satellites or nothing that could be turned around to take a picture of Hubble so that people could see this damn thing, right? And maybe you can conduct some sort of analysis or, you know, health check on to see if it's been damaged or anything else is going on. But here it is, there's video online of something taking a picture of the ISS that is higher than 200 miles than where they said the ISS is at 241 miles, give or take. So that means that there's something at least 50 to 100 miles above the ISS taking pictures of it and video of it. Well, that same object, or wherever it is, should be able to turn around and take a picture of Hubble, wherever the hell it's at. Because they say that the Hubble is 300 miles, give or 341 miles above the ISS. Well, guess what? If you're on the ISS, the next time you're out there scratching your bolas, okay, servicing the outside of this fucking football-sized fucking tin can, turn your fucking dumb ass around, and when Houston says to you, hey, the Hubble's coming by, turn around and take a fucking picture of this thing so we can put this shit to rest. Turn around and take a picture of it, because you should be, again, a $5,000 DSLR camera, Canon camera, with a super telephoto lens should be able to take a picture of Hubble 100 miles or less away from the ISS when it comes in range. Because there ain't no atmosphere, there ain't nothing to distort the picture, to get in the picture, to get in the way of that person, that astronaut taking a picture of the Hubble. Why won't they do that? Why? Because I said it 2 years ago. That fucking thing never even got inside of a space shuttle. It was the size of a school bus. There was maybe 10 inches, 12 inches of room to the side and top and bottom. How the hell could you have gotten this thing off the ground? It was not the largest, but it was one of the largest and heaviest objects to ever be lifted into space. But they're saying
how heavy exactly?
I think it weighed like over 27,000 pounds. They said it weighed almost as much as a school bus, maybe even more. Yeah, that's what they said. That's what they said.
No, that's insane.
So my thing is this: I don't care what pictures you show me servicing this thing, but I got pictures of you underwater servicing it. I got pictures of you being in the training tank in Florida servicing.
Can you share these, please? Those pictures?
What? I got it in my box stuff, but hold on, let me see if I can find it online. I might be able to find it online right now. Hang on. Yep, here you go. Pictures of it. Yep, here you go. I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna do a share screen so everybody can see them. There's pictures online of this thing. I didn't even need to go far. That's how great Google is. Oh, they're just fantastic, aren't they? Just fantastic. Okay, here. This is a life-size mock-up. This is not a miniaturized mock-up. This is a full-size version of Hubble. Full size. Okay? full size of Hubble. This is full size. Okay.
And for what purpose they claim for testing, maintaining, or what?
No, they were doing this training mission because they needed to They said they needed to replace the mirrors with these
Oh
cameras.
yeah, I
These
remember.
special cameras that they delivered. Now, I want you to take a picture. I want you to look at this. This is the underwater training tank at the NASA Goddard Space Flight Training Center. Now, look in the background. Look how deep this tank is. But look in the background. What the fuck is all of this shit in the background?
It looks like a motherboard. A huge
Exactly.
one.
Look at all that electronic equipment back there underwater.
Yeah.
And look at this. Just look at this.
Yeah.
That's a life-size version of the Hubble. Whenever the government builds anything, they always build 2 or 3 of these things so they can train on one, and they can troubleshoot on another one, and they claim the real one is where it's supposed to be. Bullshit. Yeah. Bullshit. Look at the size of the camera that they had to install. Look how big the camera was. Look at the scale. Look at this one diver holding on to this camera with 2 hands. You know how much that thing weighs? Over almost 1,000 kilograms, bro. And he's underwater with it.
Yeah.
Now, if he's underwater with it, it should almost crush him, right? It should literally be falling on him.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now, either that thing doesn't weigh what it say it does, or it's complete bullshit. I think it's both. It doesn't weigh what it say it is, and it's complete bullshit.
Even in the water, it would be heavy. Yeah.
I mean, look at it. Look at the astronaut pushing the camera inside the Hubble. That's the life-size version. Now, you see how big this thing is? This is supposed to be the inside of what a shuttle should be. You're gonna tell me that this thing fit inside the cargo bay of a shuttle? Really?
No, I don't.
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, dude, I mean, there are no stupid people in Germany.
No, I don't think so.
This is ridiculous. And I'll even show you. I'll show you the so-called space footage that they show you of this damn thing being installed. Where's it at? Okay, here goes the space footage.
There's
so-called. Here it is, right here.
There's no actual footage of the repair mission.
This is the actual space footage they claim of this thing in space. This is by courtesy of the European Space Agency. This is them actually installing it in space. Really? No, that's a backdrop black screen, and them still fucking underwater, and they basically photoshopped all of the water features and everything that can make it look like they're in space.
Did they release?
Look at it. This is supposed to be in space.
No way.
Did they release just pictures or?
No. These pictures have been up for a while.
No, but did they release also a video or just pictures?
Yeah, there's a video. I put it up on my channel. It's on my channel. You can watch the video. It's bullshit, bro. This thing is not 341 miles. This thing is not within 70 to 100 miles of the ISS, because if it was and I was up there, I'd fucking sit outside the ISS on my ass, cutting my fingernail, and I'd wait for this thing to fly by, and I'd catch a fucking picture of it. And I'm ready to go home now. That's what I would do.
Yeah, man.
If I had Dennis Tito money, 20 million, I say, you know what? Hey, Russia, I tell you what, I got $20 million. I just want to do one thing. Okay, what do you want to do, American? You gringo? Okay, I got my own camera, and I want you to take me up to the ISS. I want to be part of your team. And when the Hubble Space Telescope is within 20 minutes of passing the ISS, I want you to take me outside. Let me take a picture of it, and then I'll come home. You know the Russians will take that money. They'll say, okay, we'll do it. This is ridiculous, man. You can't, I don't care what anyone says, unless I see some other information showing me a real-time shot of Hubble that was shot from the ISS, it does not exist. You got universities in Europe saying, scientists saying they're using Hubble images. Really? Give me a 2017 image that was taken by Hubble right now. Hubble has not produced any images probably in a decade. The pictures that are being produced are from a fucking 747 flying at 45,000 feet.
Well, from Sofia.
And the Germans are controlling that airplane. Now, if you look at this, this is from The Guardian, right? Somehow, this picture was taken, and I don't even know. Oh my God. Somehow, this picture was taken. I don't know when it was taken. But you see how low Hubble is? It was taken off in the distance. Wait. When did they say this picture was taken? Now look at this now. I'm telling you something here right now. If this picture is of Hubble, this picture right here that I'm showing everybody right now, this was put out in 2015. Okay? I don't know the exact date it was put out. It could be bullshit. But let's just say, if this picture was taken from the ISS, it had to be. This picture had to be taken. Say this picture was taken from the ISS, and that's Hubble. Okay. Isn't Hubble supposed to be 100 miles above the ISS at 341 miles? What the fuck is it doing below the ISS?
Yeah, below and pretty close also. I mean,
damn close.
Yeah.
Close. That's less than 100 miles.
No way, 100 miles. No way. I mean, look at it. That is supposed to be Hubble, what we see right now, right?
That's what they say in the image camera. They said this view of Hubble was taken by the Columbia Space Shuttle crew member in 2002. The journey to this peaceful image was a long and bumpy one, which began in 1923. Oh, whatever.
What?
Whatever.
What?
They saying this image was taken in 2002. So how the hell did Hubble get 100 miles above the ISS? Because according to NASA, that's where Hubble should be. But based on what I said to the deputy program manager, I told him, based on the amount of time that Hubble has been up there and its orbital journey, every 95 minutes it circles the Earth, right? That if it doesn't have any propulsion to push it back into orbit, that means that as of 2012, 2014, Hubble should be either in the bottom of the ocean or getting ready to is already inside, is below the ISS. That's what I said to him. And you guys heard the video for yourself. Did he dispute that? No. He did not argue that there was a possibility this fucking school bus was in the ocean. He didn't argue with me. Because you want to know why? He knows the truth. It's in a fucking swimming pool. Right here. Because he knows where it is. He goes and sees it on his lunch break every day. Hello, Hubble. There's some crazy YouTuber who found out where you really are. You're in the pool. There it is. And nobody else will talk about this. They don't need to, because I already did all the homework. There's nothing else you can investigate. There's nothing else to investigate about this thing, because until somebody shows me a recent image that this telescope has taken, that they have shared with any astrophysicist or any university in Europe or the United States, I'm telling you here right now, if you don't see any recent photos that this thing has taken, it's because it doesn't exist. There ain't nothing up there taking pictures like that. It's a plane. Look, this is supposed to be a space footage. Spacewalk stock footage, stock video. That's what they say. That's what they say. Hubble's being serviced. You know, they got a saying in the prostitution business. Hey, you want me to service you? You know what that means? That means that the hooker wants to give you a blowjob. Yeah, they were servicing this thing all right. They were servicing it all right. And look, there's a site right here. It's called footage.framepool.com. This is all the footage you can see on the Hubble. Being serviced. Getting a blowjob. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend any ladies, but
if you watch any ISS EVA, so what are they doing actually? They're doing nothing.
It's ridiculous, man. I mean, I don't understand why anybody would want to fight with me on this. I mean, I haven't seen anybody. I mean, I've seen people make a lot of, crazy comments about what I'm saying, but I could do a little bit more homework on this, but there ain't no more. There's nothing else to look at. There's nothing else to look for.
It appeals to me that what NASA is doing in space. It's like set it and forget it, and you have young people in the control rooms, or even older program manager who never ever have seen Hubble in real life.
Yeah.
So
you heard the deputy program manager. He never even saw it get put into the cargo bay. He never saw it. He never even saw it get put into the cargo bay, and this guy's in charge of the program. He never saw it get put into the cargo bay, man. And you know what? I know what NASA's doing. They're using my own mantra against me. Hey, Robert, it's not what you know. It's what you can prove. Can you prove it doesn't exist? Yeah, I did. But can you prove it does exist? And they can't prove it. So far, since that video came, look, here goes another picture. Check out this picture. This is Hubble. Look how big it is.
Yeah, Robert, the globalist in the chat is just saying that it's not correct. The last service mission also lifted the telescope some miles.
How? Where? Is there any video? Where's the video? Show me some documentation where they did this.
Yeah.
Why was it not put on television? Hey, yeah, we sent up another service mission recently, and yeah, we pushed the Hubble up there. Bullshit.
Yeah, and how it was done.
Yeah, how was it done? It's 100 miles beyond the ISS.
Yeah.
And also, there's from the FIFA, no, not FIFA. There's any flight is tracked, isn't it? And
every flight is tracked. All you got to do is go into the United Nations space agencies, the space groups. You go onto their website, and they'll tell you everything that's been launched and what was the mission, what was supposed to happen. They'll tell you.
The registration you're talking about, right?
Yeah, the registration. They will tell you exactly this is what is going to happen on this mission. And if that happened with any of the people who are talking about this right now on the chat, if that happened, then there should be documentation of it. And I want to see it because I'm not going to go search for it. Yeah, I mean, I would like to know. I mean, I just got back. So, I mean, I'm catching up on a lot of stuff that's out there. I don't want to be repeating what anyone else is doing in videos and what they're catching up on. Because, again, like I said, what I put out 2 years ago was to motivate and inspire people to go searching out for other things to either prove me wrong or explain to me what I misinterpreted or mistranslated or miscomprehended. And some of it I've corrected, and I've, changed what I said because I read it wrong or I misunderstood it. I was excited. Okay, whatever, Yeah,
Globalist, I don't know if you just, if you read the chat, Globalist says to you.
Yeah, I see him. He says he'll do his very best. I saw it.
And what you expect to see, lifting is done by burning the rockets at the backside. So
No. I don't even need to see the video because there is no video of it. I want to see the actual registration of what the mission that stated that rocket was also gonna, after it left the ISS, would go 100 miles more in altitude to go exactly to where the Hubble was, attach itself to the Hubble, and then push it back up into its natural orbital trajectory. That's what it should say. Because if it doesn't say that, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Oh yeah, and should we even get started on the moon? Or should we just save that for another time?
Not tonight.
Okay. I won't go there. Because that stuff we got to disclose about the moon. That is, oh my God, that's going to blow the doors off a lot of people who are focusing on the moon right now. Yeah. The information I have about the moon actually came from a former government employee. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, there are so many topics around irritating us, and after all, you question yourself in what kind of world we are actually living in. When we see these, you also mentioned that they show us movies.
I actually will disclose the next time we'll plan when we'll disclose it, but I'll actually have the list of movies where they've been government soft disclosures.
Also,
Meaning that the movies are actually, yeah, you look at them as being science fiction, but there's specific movies and there's specific parts in the movie where literally the government is disclosing this information to the public. Yeah, you see that thing that Andres was just showing right now on video to everybody, where he showed a picture of the Earth and all those satellites that are all over the place. Now ask yourself, could all of that shit be up there moving at incredible speeds and not and there are people actually controlling that shit from one central area? I don't think so. That's like, the only type of swarm behavior that can exist on Earth is those, when you see those flock of birds and bats flying like in masses, and they all change direction at the same time and move at the same time and fly together at the same distance.
Yeah.
Because those are sentient mammals that can do that. You trying to tell me that a fucking box of wires and circuits can do the same fucking thing that a bunch of birds can do on Earth? No. With people behind the controls? Absolutely not. Half of us can't even walk down the street and chew gum and eat a fucking banana and talk on. I mean, really. I mean, seriously. You're going to trust some fucking 20-something, 30-something-year-old person to sit behind a joystick and say, hey, I'm going to control this $25 million fucking satellite flying at fucking 17,000 miles an hour. And I pray I don't hit something that's made from the Russians or French or Chinese. Give me a fucking break, dude.
No,
are you serious? There is no fucking computer program that can do that, because what's happening up there, so-called in space, is so dynamic and unpredictable. By the time something came within vicinity to crash into it, it's too fucking late. We don't have computers that can fucking calculate that shit that fast enough. We can't do it because it's unpredictable up there. We can only predict what can happen here on the fucking ground. Because if we could predict what the hell can happen up in the sky, then why do fucking planes crash? Why do they crash? Why do helicopters crash into each other? Why do fighter jets crash into each other? Why? Come on, why does that happen? Because the shit, what's happening up in our atmospheres is unpredictable. You can fly a certain path, but if you got to go in a different direction, yeah, you're going to kill everybody on that plane or that helicopter. Or you're going to crash into something. And it's not because you were drunk, you didn't know where you were going. It's because shit happens up there. Shit happens up there. These people say that they can track all of these fucking rogue objects.
Yeah, right.
Ask yourself this. Those same people probably lose their fucking car keys once a week. Dude, we don't have that kind of technology to track that many objects moving at unknown velocities and unknown directions. Yeah, we could project. We could work on a probabilistic statistical approximation of where this could be headed and what's going to happen to it if something gets in its way. But we're not there to watch it 100% of the time. If it comes within range of a specific sensor, it gets picked up. But by the time it gets picked up and it gets transmitted to the ground, it's too fucking late. It's too late. Oh. So if there are thousands of things up in the sky right now in space moving around this planet, dude, you should see at least a half a dozen things come fucking out of the sky every single night. And I don't care where you are on the planet. Wherever you are every night on a clear night, you should see shit coming out of the sky constantly.
Right.
Constantly. Because the planes in the air flying at lower altitude are affecting the next layer of atmosphere, and so on and so on and so forth. So when you start to disrupt thermodynamic equilibrium and aerodynamic equilibrium, meaning you're changing the vectors of certain natural winds and speeds and velocities, it'll start a cascade effect. And when that cascade effect starts, well, guess what? You could have somebody flying an experimental aircraft at 50,000, 60,000 feet, right? And it could create a butterfly effect, and next thing you know, 100 cube satellites come crashing out of the sky. And you didn't expect that to happen. But now one of them ends up in your fucking living room on your coffee table and just ruin your perfect fucking cup of Colombian coffee. And you're pissed off because you got a hole in your fucking coffee table and in your damn living room floor. This is how unpredictable it is. We're supposed to be a predictable species, but we're creating things that and putting them in an unpredictable environment so we can observe it. You can't predict what you can't see and what you can't observe with your own eyes. We can develop the sensors to do it, but the sensors are only going to have an optimal capability for so long. After that, you're throwing caution to the wind. So the only most logical conclusion and probability is that all this shit is within range that we can control, which is in the atmosphere on a fucking balloon. Period. When you let go of a balloon, you can see it for a while when it floats off, right? But if you attach something to that balloon, you're like, okay, I put this much helium in there. If I do the mathematics and I put a 10-pound object, a 5-kilogram object, it'll go to this altitude and it'll go this far with the wind. So it might land maybe 5 miles away. So you wait, you go 5 miles away, you wait for the thing and you see it. And then next thing you know, it starts coming down. It might not come down the exact place you thought it would come down, but it's coming down. That's the same way satellites should work if they were in microgravity, but they're not. Yeah. They're being carried by a specific area of our atmosphere where the thermal winds are very fast and very high. We just don't know how fast. We don't know what the exact pressures are. But that picture you're showing right now, if you think that's where you're getting your satellite TV and your fucking cell phone and internet, then you deserve to be out there with the rest of that shit. I'm dead serious. If you think that's what's flying around right now with the ISS and the Hubble, you lost your mind. You really lost your mind. You really lost your mind if you think that's what's flying around right now. Because there can't be that number of objects flying around the Earth right now. No. Impossible.
You would see it really at the ISS live stream if it would be the case.
Exactly. Because understand this, if the ISS is supposed to be above all of this shit, that means that the ISS should be capturing video, live video of this shit flying by at like Mach 1.
The Hubble is like 100 miles above the ISS, and right, satellites are below. So
yeah, exactly. Why can't you flip Hubble around? Which you can't because it doesn't exist. But why can't you get the ISS, all those cameras you got, and train them, turn the cameras, get the guys to go outside the station for one day, turn all the cameras down towards the Earth, and see how many objects you catch flying by the ISS as it's supposedly flying around the Earth at 17,500 miles an hour. Yeah. You don't. And that land cargo pilot said it perfectly. There ain't nothing up there above 70,000 feet where the U-2 is operating that is moving faster than a speeding bullet. Yeah. No way. Because they would see it. On a crystal clear night, you would see if there was light being reflected on all those solar panels, you would see things just shining. The sky would look like it's diamonds in the sky. Things would be reflecting and refracting off of the light. You'd be seeing all the shit scattered all. It'd be like somebody dumped their trash out into space and you just see it floating out there. But the trash they dumped was all aluminum foil. That's what you should be able to see, but you don't see that. You don't see it. Because when the sun is rising every morning, right at dawn, that means that the right amount of light is at the right angle to hit at least 1,000 objects in space so that you see the reflection, you see the reflected light hit that satellite, the bottom of it, so that you could be able to see how fast it's moving and what direction it's going. You don't see that at dawn. And you don't see it at dusk either. So go outside at dawn and dusk and just point your camera up there, zoom in, and just keep it there and see how many reflective objects you see coming back at you other than twinkling stars. Yeah, you get better pictures from Mars, which is what? How many miles away? It's like 5 million miles away, 10 million miles away. You know, I was reading an email that Franz sent to me, and I agree with him. Where's all this taking us, man? I mean, we start uncovering all this stuff. You start waking people up, you know, take away their alarm clock and really wake them up with, you know, a cold a cold bath blast, with information and data, showing this and showing that. But where does it lead to? I mean, these people who put this information out, they're not ready to come out and say, okay, you caught us red-handed. They're not gonna, just like with the slave thing. Do you think they're gonna give millions of black people reparations for 450 years of slavery? Hell no. You think they're gonna refund people's tax dollars for the billions of dollars NASA's been getting since their existence? Since the DOD's been getting billions of dollars, the intelligence community getting. You think they're gonna give back that money that your congressmen in the U.S. and senators in the U.S. been approving to create this fucking Truman Show, this farce of media shit to distract you from why are they really doing it? They're not going to tell you why they're really doing it.
No.
They're never going to say it. They're not going to say it in our generation. They may say it for my kid's generation, his kids. But there needs to be a focus on things that we know. We have the factual information to back up. And if the documentation has got to be it. You got to take their own information and use it against them. In law practice, there's two ways you practice law when you go into a courtroom. You either argue the facts of a case or you argue the law. When you argue the law, it's because you don't have a lot of the facts. So you use, allegations to say this person did this person did that, and it's in violation of this rule, regulation, policy, or law. But if you have all the facts and you're being accused, you say, well, here's the fact of the matter. Here's the documentation to show I did this, this, and this, and this, and it didn't violate any law. And either you win the case or you fucking have to pay up and go to jail. And the same thing applies in what we're doing right now. If you don't use their own information against them and understand what it is they put out so that you can sift through the gray lines of shit where they tried to misdirect things. Because that's what I've done. I've collected so much stuff. And now that I'm starting to put the pieces of the puzzle together, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, worldwide telecommunications has been on a fucking airplane, not on a satellite. And then this company comes out, Airborne Wireless Network. I'm like, what the hell? This is crazy.
Yeah, right.
So now I know why I'm paying more on my cell phone bill with regard to taxes. It has nothing to do with going on the ground. I'm paying as though I'm buying a fucking airline ticket. Do you know, you ready for this? This is just an allegation. Do you know, get this, if you have a frequent flyer account with any airline, when they offer you credit miles for flying somewhere, right? They're literally saying, we're giving you money back. Do you know that that's the government's way and the airline's way of giving you money back? Because they're saying, hey, we've been fucking taking advantage of you for over 20, 30 years. So we're going to give this thing back and let you fly more because we need to use this platform, this airborne platform to supplement the cost to have your cell phone calls go from fucking Germany to New York or New York to Germany.
Yeah.
And this is how we've been doing it. A fucking refund check. That's all it's been. If you got a flyer account, you're getting your money back. You got to fly to get it back. Distances are not the truth at all. Distances are not the truth at all. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The distances they're claiming and the time it takes is bullshit. If you think I'm kidding,
no.
Next time you take a long distance flight, if next time you take a long distance flight, did you know that you actually circle the airport that you took off from twice before you actually head out to your destination?
Most of the time.
You head in the direction of the destination. Yeah. And you ready for this? You circle the destination you're flying to twice as well. So that's how the miles get added up. Yeah. Well, I can tell you this here right now. For 2019, I'm going to have more of the same with regard to live interviews. But I'm going to get these people permission. They're not going to be surprised. I'm basically I'm scientifically curious, and I'm going to I'm going to be challenging things that I've learned, things that I've been exposed to, and I want these scientists to explain it to me.
It's what you can prove.
Oh, your
I
phone
want them to
again.
explain it to me. Yeah,
It's
somebody
not
else saying.
what you know.
I want them to explain it to me in their scientific way, and that'll be for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. And those are going to be for the first of the year. I'm gonna try to set up at least 6 interviews, university people, government people, and some of their names will be protected. I'm not gonna have them on video, but I'll have them say, where they work and what they do, and the ones that are comfortable with saying who they are and they're not afraid of it, hey, no big deal. They're not gonna. I don't want anybody getting aggressive with them and trying to discredit them or anything like that. But that's the type of stuff I'm gonna do. I might do some surprise interviews where the people don't know. So
Robert,
what?
may I ask you what kind of background do you have?
My background? My background
Yeah,
is in intelligence studies. Now I'm more into artificial intelligence and deep learning. I've shifted my intelligence background to artificial intelligence and deep learning.
I share a video now from Jaron, actually from a live show he did a few days ago, and it calls "Time for Talk is over, time for proof is now."
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw, and yeah, I give credit where credit's due. I actually saw what he had said as well. I watched part of it. I didn't get a chance to watch all of it, but
yes,
he's absolutely right. I was saying it 2 years ago. That's
yes,
why I developed that model.
yeah,
From a movie, one of the famous movies I like, Training Day. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Stop
yes,
talking about it and be about it.
yes,
You gotta use their own infinite. Stop coming up with conjectures or hypothesis or whatever have you. You gotta back it up with information you get from their own databases. Take their information, look at it carefully, compare it to other data that's out there, and develop an understanding, your own understanding, but also stick with the foundational information to try to convey to people this is why they did what they did. Because look how they explain it. Here goes the most logical conclusion. Not a guess, but hey, wait a minute. Airborne wireless network. Wait a minute. You telling me you're putting this technology on airplanes, but wait, back in the 1960s and 70s, there's something called Project Reaper, and they were using electromagnetic, location systems, which is similar to the airborne wireless network. So this shit existed in 1967,
right,
not 2014 or 15. So you're basically taking the stuff you were doing back then, and you're finally telling people, hey, here's the new name we're giving it to it. That's all it is. I'm not gonna win a Nobel Prize or fucking award with anybody for someone in the government coming out and admitting that Hubble doesn't exist. I'm not looking to be on anyone's TV and be recognized for that kind of shit. But I
no,
mean, really, the truth is out, and it's not my
so
truth. It's not my truth. I just happened to stumble across it, and how I stumbled across that information on Hubble is when I started researching images and I started doing an image comparison. I'm like, whoa, shit, this came from a 747. Let me compare this to Hubble. And when I found the exact same image taken by two objects that they claimed took the same picture, and I found out that the picture was actually generated by one single object, and it was a 747, I'm like, oh shit, this fucking thing doesn't exist. I know the airplane exists, but the telescope doesn't. And then when you look at, I started doing the cost analysis. I saw what the cost was. You know how much it cost to retrofit the Sophia? The
Oh.
same exact money it took to build a Hubble.
Wow,
And to fix it, do you know what it cost to fix? You know what it cost to fix the Hubble? The same exact money it took to install the same size lens that they have on Sophia. The lens on Sophia and Hubble are exactly the same. It costs the same. How is it that something that's on a 747 costs the same as putting something in space? So if I told you, okay, Andres, what do you want? You can spend $1 million for me to send a camera to you, or I can ship it regular mail for $30. What would you choose?
of course, the mail for $40.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
my point. So why the fuck would you build something it take you almost 10 years to build when
yes,
you can put it on a 747 in fucking 3 years?
Yes.
You know who would? You guys actually would have better access to literally get to schedule to call up the German Space Agency and visit their facility to ask them, could you take a tour and take pictures of Sophia and talk to them and do an interview and everything? Because they're right in your guys' backyard. Listen, we're really interested in Sophia, and we'd like to take pictures of it and know if we could, have like a little tour or go onto the aircraft and learn a little bit more about it and how does and just pop and then pop in the question. So how does this compare to Hubble? And just see the look on their fucking face when you say that, because they might call the Bundesliga to have you arrested as soon as you say it. They might call the police and say, you need to get out of here. Security, out of here.
That I remember when Hubble was launched into space. At the beginning, it was unable to produce sharp pictures from space. You remember this?
Well, yeah, you're talking about on April 24th? No. Well, I already proved that launch didn't occur. But yeah, I remember when they said that the lens, there was a defect in the mirror.
Yeah.
And they couldn't correct it, so they had to remove all of that and develop those billion-dollar cameras.
No, they haven't removed the.
No, they didn't. All they did was install the cameras. You're right.
Yes,
and they said they gave glasses. That's what they said.
Yeah. And my point is, if your glasses are incorrect, you get a unsharp picture.
Exactly.
How? If you don't get the information, how can you calculate information you never got into sharp pictures? So how does it work? Yeah, the information is not there because the mirror is defective. So I get an unsharp picture, and how to correct it on a calculator basis.
Yeah, it baffles me. See, here's the thing. They use complex mathematics not only to confuse themselves, but knowing that it's going to confuse the general public, and no one's going to go out there to do the research to calculate all this, and NASA's not going to share their information with the general public so that they can conduct analysis, and then NASA can be proven in public, hey, here's where you made the mistake. They don't want outsiders telling them you fucked up.
But look, now we have very good computers at home. We got spanky software, and it becomes more and more easy to simulate some stuff. So
you can simulate all of that. You can do all of it.
Yeah.
You can simulate all of it now with AI and deep learning. And it's been going on. I don't know if you guys saw the video I did where I shared NASA's technology transfer software vault. They have software where you can do all of this. You can actually simulate shuttle launches. You can design your own shuttle. You can do flight path, everything, where it's going to go, what it's going to do. NASA already provides this software for free.
And presumably this software, more or less, they never have produced.
Exactly. They're providing, they're licensing it out to the general public now to create movies and videos and illustrations.
Yeah.
You think that everything you see in the movies, I mean, come on, they get this stuff from NASA, or they provided it to NASA and helped them develop this kind of stuff so they can create these images.
That's right. NASA and the military, they are sponsoring a lot of Hollywood movies. I
was watching a video the other day where this guy says that the military and the government developed sensor technology where they could fly a sensitive satellite out to a planet, and it scans the planet, and it would be able to tell you what the pressures are on the surface, what the gas compositions are, and literally what's on the surface of this planet to know what the environment's like. And it just flies by and it does this thing. Okay, all right, let's just say I believe you can do that shit. And that's why you're looking for other planets that are Earth-like.
When I see these pictures we are just looking on now, it's for me, it's just a laugh. You know, it's so artificial. It's done by computer generated.
They're theoretical constructs of what they think it would look like, not what it actually looks like. They won't show you where they got this from in raw form. They won't shoot a video to show you how they constructed that image. Because if they showed you the raw data of how they got that and where they got that from, the gig is up.
Of course,
The gig is up.
of course, these are now no optical telescopes; these are radio telescopes.
No, ain't no
But do
damn
you?
telescope that can actually see that kind of stuff. You telling me that we have sensitive enough radio measurement technology to generate something like that? Come on, man. No way.
Do you really think they have an idea at all how space looks like or the Earth looks
No,
like?
you remember the question I posed to you and Andres? And I'm going to say this to everybody, the 77 people watching right now. And here is my $100,000 question. I want one person or anyone. I want anyone to tell me, describe what is space without telling me where it is. Describe space without telling me where it is. I asked this question of 3 physicists in Europe over 18 months, and not one of them could answer it. You cannot describe space without telling me where it is. Because guess what? According to the Aeronautic Federation Nationale, it's an approximation. A group of guys got together with Theodore von Karman, and they agreed that space possibly begins at 100 kilometers. Possibly. They're not sure. And the reason why they're not 100% sure, it literally starts at 100 kilometers, is exactly what I said in the beginning. The atmospheres contract and expand at unpredictable rates, and one day the space could be at 90 kilometers, and another day, and 20 minutes later, it could be at 100 kilometers. So that's a 10-kilometer decrease and a 10-kilometer jump. So because we have never been outside of space, okay, wherever that is, you can't define space, because without telling me where it is, and you don't know where it is. No one knows where it is. We just know that there's something different happening up there than there is down here, or at specific altitudes, but we can't go be outside of that. I don't give a shit what any SpaceX, Elon Musk telemetry video shows when they launch a rocket that it's reaching 400, 500,000, 600,000 feet. I can get a computer program to do the same fucking thing. You can manipulate all that data. And yeah, you may be able to look up in the sky and say, yeah, look, it's going into space. Oh, really? Was your ass strapped to that rocket to know that's where it actually went to? No. And they never show you a camera. They don't never show the entire video feed from the launch all the way. I mean, just showing it from the ground and literally showing you a ground view, a lateral view, a 45-degree angle view, a 90-degree view facing up. They don't never show you that. You'll never see a camera maybe on the nose pointed out into where it's going to. They're never going to show that to you, because then you'd be able to see in real time how many different layers of atmosphere that rocket may be breaching, or if it's breaching the atmospheres at all. I do know it's traveling in a arc position, heading downrange at a further distance, getting away from your line of sight, where you believe it's going out into some vacuum, but that's not where it's going. It's heading to some other country somewhere out in the middle of the fucking ocean.
So to sum it up, the $100,000 question is
describe what space is without telling me where it is. I asked you that question a week ago, Franz. Remember?
I remember. This means
I want somebody to describe to me where space is. No, what space is without telling me where it is, because I already know where it's not. Because for me to tell you, okay, Franz, I know where you are. There's only 2 ways I could be able to know that. You give me, I know your address, and then with your address, I can use that information to tell me the longitude and latitude within half a meter of where you are right now. And if I want to be more exact, I'll say, okay, you're at this address. Are you in the bedroom, or living room, or in the back room? And you would tell me which one you're in. That's the only way to tell me where you are, okay? We don't know where space is. We only guess where it is. because something different is happening there we can't explain, but we don't know what it is. And if someone can explain to me what space is, then maybe we might be able to redefine where it is and give an approximation that on a given day, space is either at 90 kilometers, the lowest altitude, and the breach altitude is 100 kilometers. And we could literally put a paper together and put that out and say, this is it. Instead of people saying, oh, the Kármán line. No one fucking knows where the Kármán line is. It's named after some guy who he didn't even know. Someone said that space is sex. Is that what he said?
Yeah, it has to do with our consciousness.
It's in our, where's that? In artificial intelligence. I'm studying artificial intelligence. And they're using the Human Brain Project to try to emulate a computer behind how the brain works. And because they can't emulate because they can't copy what the human brain does onto a computer, because they're trying to locate where the consciousness is. They've been studying the human brain for over 3 decades, and they don't know where the seat of conscience actually exists inside the human brain. They're not even sure it's the human brain.
Yeah,
where it exists. They said, oh, it's your soul. Well, where the hell is the soul? How do we know someone even has a soul? You have all this metaphysical type of shit going on. And that's the problem with AI, is that if you say something exists in your consciousness, well, where is your consciousness? If I never told you there was anything of a consciousness, you wouldn't even know that you even had one. Am I right on that? Am I right? If no one ever told you that, are you conscious, you would look at them and be like, what the hell is that? Oh, never mind. It's nothing. Okay. Well, how do you know you're Franz? Because my mother told me. That's the name she gave me. Really? Why did your mother give you that name? Well, she gave me that name behind my uncle and my grandfather. Well, how'd your grandfather get his name? Well, I don't know that. Well, guess what? Then you don't know you're Franz. You were just giving. See, we give names to things. We give categories to things. And then we decide if we're going to all agree, or the majority will agree, this is what it is, or this is what it's not. They're telling you they don't know, or they now feel like they just wasted 12 years of their life working on a PhD, and you just showed them in 5 minutes they don't know shit.
Yes, this pretty much points to this movie or the story, A Hitchhiker Through the End of the Galaxies.
Yeah, Hitchhiker of the Galaxy, yeah.
Where they've had the answer, but the question is missing.
Yeah, the question is missing.
Yeah.
If anybody can describe what space is without telling me where it is, then I want to learn. I want to continue learning from that person.
So the basic question behind all is, why do they do so much effort to tell the human mankind stories about space when they even have no idea themselves?
Well, you just answered your own question. There's stories. It's just like the stories that you and I were told when we were kids. You know, I found out when I was 10 years old, Santa Claus didn't exist. And you know what? Every Christmas after that was like another fucking day.
Yeah, I also say every day is Christmas Day.
I swear to God, listen, and you know how I found out Santa Claus didn't exist? Me and my little cousin were playing in the house, and we used to always play on the bed of my aunt and uncle, and he went hiding. He was younger than me. He went hiding on the other side of the bed, and there was a blanket covering some boxes. So I found him in a hide and seek game, and I lifted up the blanket, and I saw all the toys that I picked out 2 weeks earlier. And I'm like, oh shit, Santa must be busy. He came early. So I went running to my aunt and says, oh, auntie, Santa Claus left all our gifts. You know what she did? She spanked my ass red. She goes, boy, what are you doing in my bedroom? What do you mean Santa came early? There ain't no damn Santa. Me and your uncle bought those gifts for you because we asked. That's why we took you to the store to find out what toys you like. So go in your room right now before you don't have no Christmas. And from then on out, I said, oh boy, this is something else. Santa Claus is a fucking hoax. So is the Easter Bunny. Do you know I found out that when I was in kindergarten, we had a pet rabbit that we used to take care of in kindergarten. And the teacher would tell us to bring in like carrots and celery and all these like vegetable things to give the rabbit, right? You know what my aunt used to put in my lunch pail every day? A boiled egg. Guess what I did? I didn't want that egg, and I tried to give it to the rabbit, and the rabbit would not fucking touch that egg. So when you hear about fucking the Easter Bunny laying eggs, think again. Rabbits don't fucking like eggs, especially boiled fucking eggs, and they don't fucking lay eggs. Another myth. So the next time you want to have an Easter egg hunt with your kids, you better go get a bunch of fucking chickens or ducks, because the Easter Bunny don't like eggs. It's that same type of childish concept applies to all the shit that we're doing. But we're not children anymore. We need to remain the adults to tell the rest of the people, wake the fuck up. Santa Claus is not coming. There's no Easter Bunny. Okay? And stop believing that you live on a fucking giant water balloon spinning around at 66,000 miles an hour. Because if you think you live on a water balloon, right, I dare you to take some 550 cord, right, and a water balloon, one of those strong water balloons, you know, like maybe get a condom, fill it up with water, because they're really strong. Fill it up with water, right, tie the 550 cord, and the reason why they call it 550 cord, because it can handle 550 pounds of pressure and force. You tie the 550 cord around the balloon, right? Fill the balloon up or condom up, and then go outside in an open field and spin that fucker around as fast as you possibly can. Spin that fucking thing around as fast as you can on the 550 cord. And as you try to get at least like 20, 30, 40, 50 feet of 550 cord. Wrap it around your hand. And as you're spinning around close to over your head, start releasing much of the 550 cord to you almost at the end. So now the balloon is spinning around your head, and try to spin it faster and faster and faster, and have your friend take a video footage of what that fucking balloon looks like when you're spinning around over your head. And you tell me if we're living on a fucking water balloon spinning around in the universe at 66,000 miles an hour. Yeah, man. This has been interesting. I really enjoyed being with you guys, man. You guys got my mind racing now. I got a whole lot of information I want to release, man, over the next couple of shows. So we definitely need to talk about it, Andres and Franz. People are starting to float over to whatever Globebusters are showing. So just wanted to give you a heads up. That's what it. Well, I mean, they're showing some interesting stuff. I mean, give them props. Yeah. But we've been going for a while. Yeah. You're gonna get that when you get you know, popular people all talking at the same time. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get that. So, but once we start putting our stuff together, it's gonna be an equal balance. I'm pretty sure. Who's IPS evacuation? He says, "Where have you been? People thinking you were dead." No, I wasn't dead, man. No one can kill me. I know. Yeah, people thought I got kidnapped. People thought I, got killed or whatever have you. That's just crazy. I just took a break, man, for a while. So
yeah. So
just went out there, Yeah, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna put like an intro next month. I'll put a little short little video up, just letting people know what I'm gonna be doing and when things are gonna start being put up on the channel again. But in the meantime, I'll be doing stuff with you. Because I got a lot. You guys know I got a lot of stuff I need to put together. I got to get the whole network set up, and I'm going to be using AI for a lot of what I'm going to be doing to do illustrations and simulations and illustrations, and it's just got to be done right. So
yeah,
I'm not going to rush into it. So, and I want to get out there. So we're going to do the trip to Chile,
right?
To the large telescope down there. Yeah, we're gonna go to the observatory down there. I want you guys to actually see that flight that I took from Iceland, and when the sun was coming up, going to New York. Yeah. What you see in the sky, I mean, that we need to do a video of that. That's incredible. That was the first time I ever took that flight from Iceland, from Reykjavik to New York. So it's an interesting flight, let's put it that way. And there's a point when you're taking that flight where literally you can see the continental U.S. and that's how you know ain't no fucking way we're on a giant water balloon.
Yeah.
Yes, I wonder. Look at the pilots doing their job. They must have seen so much on the flights.
They all know. It's just, why do you think they got a reinforced cockpit door. It's not because they want somebody hijacking the plane. They don't want to have to answer those fucking questions, man. They got those locked doors to protect them from being exposed, man. They see everything. They see shit that they don't want to see. They don't want to talk about. This land pilot told me that even shooting a video with your own phone or bringing a camera into the cockpit and setting it up and posting it out in the public without the airline's permission, you get fired. You'll never fly again. They will literally pull your pilot's license. You will never fly a commercial aircraft ever again. Ever again. Yeah, you see some cockpit video from commercial pilots shooting certain stuff, but have you ever inquired to see if those people still have their fucking jobs? When you see those videos done by pilots in commercial aircraft, go do some research and find out if that pilot still got his job. And there goes your answer. This guy told me you have to sign confidentiality agreements of what you see. If you see anything out of the ordinary, it gets reported to the government and then to the military. They don't want no one knowing what it is they're doing late at night on those late night flights when they're cleaning, when they're basically doing some house cleaning in the sky.
That reminds me to this new project that is coming up about the flight over the poles. So they have set up some flights over the poles coming soon, and they don't let you use some utilities to simply track the flight or take cameras with you. They don't allow you that. And that's, for me personally, a huge piece of evidence that there's something hooked, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I've just posted the link to Andreas.
Oh, and you're ready for this? You ready for this? Get
Sure.
this. Antarctica, from what I found out, is the only landmass on Earth. When you start approaching the coast of Antarctica, whatever your altitude is, you have to drop down to a ceiling. You have to drop down to a ceiling of 10,000 feet. It's the only continent on Earth where you got to do that. Antarctica.
Why is that?
That'll be for another show. When you start approaching the coast of Antarctica, you have to drop down to 10,000 feet. I'm still learning German, you guys, so bear with me. The only thing I know how to do consistently is count from 1 to 50 in German.
1 to 50. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's more than yesterday.
You know, I can say, hey, I lost my passport, or I'm sick, or I need to go to the hospital. What time is it? But I'm picking it up. Yeah. I'm starting to understand more than I can speak, but I'm picking it up. So yeah, hopefully by the end of the year, I can probably speak a little bit of conversational and speak to the audience in German. And Andy Carlson says, kindergarten is a good beginning, Robert. Yeah, he's right. I should have learned it when I was in kindergarten, but yeah, share that link with the guys, to anybody who wants to have access to the box files. There's a whole bunch of, there's a lot of information in there I haven't even reviewed thoroughly yet. Yeah. So we're gonna need help for people to go through that documentation, man. I mean, you see how much information there is. There's a shitload. I mean, there was stuff I didn't even put in my videos 2 years ago. Yeah, and I can tell you here right now, nobody else is talking about that information that's in that box file on YouTube. Nobody. I was the only one that ever covered that kind of stuff. I mean, I see that there's a lot of videos put out there where people are actually talking about the CIA, NSA, NASA, and all that kind of stuff, prove that Earth is flat. We all know where they got that information from. Come on. You know, and I'm all for it. I want people to use that information, but more people need to use it, because I can't read all of that by myself. I mean, I could, but it would take me a long time to do it. And, you know, I got graduate school, I got a family to take care of, and, you know, I got to sleep and eat. So yeah, we could definitely use some help, people going over that information. It's free for anybody else to access. Just don't go in there and go crazy and start uploading all kinds of weird documentation. Make sure it's verifiable university or government research project data that you might have got your hands on and you want to share with everybody else. Yeah. But I don't own it, you know, but if you ever want to use it to do your own show, do your own show. But that's a repository for everybody, a community repository of people that we invite to have access to the information, to share their comprehension and understanding of what it is that I've managed to get my hands on. And I'm going to get my hands on a whole lot more than that nobody else will have access to. And Franz and Andres, they know what I got approval for to have access to. So we'll talk about that next time as well.
I have to ask you, Robert, how can we organize the access to this box, to your box area?
Didn't I give you like collaborator privileges? Yeah, so just whoever emails you, get their email address and send them an invite to access it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we have in Germany at the moment the problem that the YouTube personal notification will be discontinued.
Okay, well, what we'll do, that's where I'm going to set up the wire.com thing.
Yeah.
So tell everybody about that too, because I'm going to figure out a way where we can, you guys, because I know they're going to be restricting you guys access in Europe, but
Yes.
I want you to have access to the same information I do in the US and in Latin America, because we don't have those rules yet. And that way we still have a way to be able to do videos, chat, file sharing, everything, and you guys don't have to worry about those rules. Another way we can do it is that you guys know I have an Amazon Web Services account. So literally, if we have an established foundational number of members who are subscribers who are watching your shows, I can set up an Amazon Web Services S3 container, secure container, give you guys your own control and access, and that way all the data is in there, and you don't have to worry about any restrictions or anything. Because what you'll be using a virtual server that I set up in the United States using the northeastern network servers that are based in the US. So that way when you access it, you don't have to worry about complying with European rules. You're on US rules. So just let me know if that's something you want to do, because I can set up the Amazon Web Service. You have your own server without actually having the physical hardware. You'll have a virtual server, your own machine, and it'll be high speed. I mean, you'll have access to machine learning, AI, all of the other software products, applications, you name it. So I have the Amazon Web Service account. I can add any number of people. I can add it. I can add an entire group. I can name the group Deceptions.org YouTube channel, and everybody who wants access to the information, boom, they log into that group container and you control it.
So logging on by self-provisioning.
Yeah. These people would get emails. They keep using their own emails, but they would have access every time they access data that could be restricted in Europe. They don't have to worry. Literally, they'll log in using their own username and login password, which nobody else will see, not even me. And they have access to a high-performance computing server, virtual server in the United States, using Amazon Web Services.
Yeah.
So we got to talk about it and get all this stuff set up so that when you post stuff on your channel, it's just turnkey. People just need to click the link, get everything set up. It's simple. It's done. And you got a 24/7 operation running, 24/7. Anybody wanting to email me, I'll put my email address out there. You can send it in Germany if you want it. You know, you got to translate these days, so I'll respond. But it's been fun. You got a nice crowd, man. You got a nice good number of people. You got some good people watching. They're very civil. They're very respectful. They're very organized and thoughtful. Man, some of these other channels, man, they let anybody in their mother come in there to say whatever they want. I told you, you see what happened with me and trolls, right? So I don't think the trolls going to be coming if they know I'm in there. So if there are any trolls out there, I'm telling you here right now, what I fucking said 2 years ago, that shit still applies. Don't fuck around. Well, I'm ready. Now that I got some really more advanced fucking skills, I swear to you, man. I think I might have figured out how to send a bag of dog shit through the fucking fiber optic line. So don't fuck around on Andres' channel, please. Just listen. If you don't want to listen, then leave. Yeah, but I just, I mean, we're having fun, but hey, trolls are gonna be trolls. Do what they want to do. They ain't got nothing better to do. But I'm telling you, they won't fuck with me. Not anymore. Not anymore, man. I swear to you. Because now what you can do with AI, shit, I'll hijack somebody's 3D printer and create, synthetic dog shit and have it delivered to your fucking front door and explode in your face, man. I tell you. No, it's just I'm not into the people who shut down people's channel and send false reports about inappropriate information, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's bullshit, man. Don't do that to people. And so, I heard that people, trying to make a little living, just to make some extra cash. And when you start fucking with people's money, and a way for them to take care of themselves, yeah, I'll come out of the fucking shadows, and I swear to God, I will fucking 3D fucking dog shit bomb every fucking troll I get in contact with. Guys, let's talk tomorrow. Just let me know what time you guys want to talk privately tomorrow, so we can see what we can put together for next Sunday. Okay.
Bis dann.
Good night. Yep.
Good night.
Right.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
It's been fun. Ciao.